players. To the northeast corner of the map, our red Zerg from Team Acer, ladies and gents. It's Bly. And down to the bottom left-hand corner. Down a game right now in this best of 3. We did miss game number 1 because it was ongoing while we were still in that other... while we're still in the semi-final. This isn't a semi-final. Again, this is round of 8. Bly held up the bracket a little bit because he went to play in the base trade qualifier. Down to the bottom left. Down a game. White. So this isn't the semis right now, but the winner of this will move into the semis and play against Solo, and then we'll kind of have the other semi-final and the and the final. So again, ZvZ and ZVP yet to come your way. So again, guys, I know we had a lot of TVP in a row. We had 3 TVPs in a row, but now we'll have some Zerg action for you all you little Zergies out there. And the exciting thing is it's not all going to be ZvZ at least, because, you know, a lot of the time when we end up with Zergs, it always seems like we end up with just ZvZ from start to finish. Anyways, White's someone we cast a lot earlier on in this qualifier, actually. We cast a ZVP of his where he just held on against that big gateway all-in. And, well, we'll see what he wants to do here in this Zerg versus Zerg. Again, he trails by a game right now. Not 100% sure as to what's going on, what happened in game number 1, but I'm sure we'll pick up as to how the series is going in a few moments' time. Pretty standard openers though from both players. Bly playing a little bit more safely than his opponent with a pool first into a hatchery, and his opponent just playing a little bit more greedy. Hatch first into gas into pool. So this means he's going to be able to start his Zergling speed a little bit sooner than Bly's. He'll be able to start it as soon as that spawning pool of his finishes. Bly's own gas is not too far behind though. I mean, the extractor's on its way up now. It's over halfway done, and I mean, well, he's going to be having, yeah, he's going to have like, he's only going to be like 30, 40-ish gas behind, so not too much of a difference here. Just going to extract a trick, a drone out, and yeah, not too much else really going on. Bly for the first couple of lings, of course, opening pool first, gets you these couple of lings onto the map nice and early, although he doesn't really need them because his opponent went for the hatchery, so he's actually got a lot of time here where he's able to come in and confirm what's going on, see how fast his opponent took the gas. He clicks on it there, and you'll see that, okay, right, you've already got speed starting up, so I know you've got a very fast speed, and so I'll have to be a little bit defensive here, a little bit more careful about what is going on. This couple of things are going to come on and start working away against this hatchery, and then move up the ramp and trade a little bit here. And this is actually really nice control from Bly, and he kills off one Zerg and keeps both of his alive. Really cute little bit of micro there to start us off into this ZvZ. Alright, so these Ling's going to back away now. White's going to try and chase these guys down, and apart from this, I mean, both players have Zergling speed on the way. Bly keeps 3 workers in gas immediately, whereas White, he put 1 worker in gas and then he went back into 2 now. So simply because his, you know, Bly's gas was a little bit late, he wants to make sure he can still get his Bane and Nest up when he wants to. And it's actually going to be White coming in to try and scout. He wants to try and figure out what's going on, because of course he couldn't get the scout off the Overlord earlier because his opponent opened pool first, so he can't send that Overlord in without losing it to a Queen. And so White having to sacrifice these Zerglings to essentially scout, but he sees everything. He sees the gas. He knows his opponent's basically going into speed. He sees that, you know, Zergling speed working on the spawning pool, and it's actually going to just be Bly that drops the Bane and Nest. No Bane and Nest on the other side of the map from White just yet. He's got a lot of Lings though, so he's really just going to try and flood his opponent essentially with all of these Lings. And while Bly does see it, he's got a few Lings of his own on the way to follow up a few drones he's making, and there's a few more Lings coming in for White as well. So again, it's going to be a lot of Lings here initially as he starts to stream in, and this initial spine call is not going to do the best of jobs on its own. And without, okay, now Bly does have speed, so he's going to be able to start responding to this. He's going to have to pull drones into this now. Again, he's at 12 worker lead, but is that going to be enough? You know, is he going to lose more than 12 workers here? At this rate, it definitely seems as though he might. He's got a lot of Lings on the way for himself, but they're not here just yet, and the ones that are popping out are just popping out kind of on their own, so White is continuing to get damage done. Now Bly will stabilize ever so slightly. He's got 23 workers against 19, so he's actually still okay, and he's going to have a couple of Banes coming in, which will help him out a bunch too, as he has still actually a lot more Zerglings. And White coming up to the high ground here. We'll see these Banelings on the way now, and he won't be able to grab another drone kill or anything. Nice Bane hit there, and Bly maybe a little bit too greedy as White just have a couple of Banes of his own coming in on the low ground. It's going to be a little bit of intense micro as this Baneling tries to find a connection. It finds a good one. Three Zerglings killed there, as a couple of Banes here and there going off for White, but not the best connections at all. And is White just going to keep on moving through here? I think Bly's actually struggling right now. He lost his queens, remember, so he's going to struggle for lava. He's going to lose his natural hatchery, and so he's going to even struggle even more for lava. I think actually White begins to realise the opportunity he has in the main base here, which is just to take down the rest of these drones. There's a couple of Zerglings as well, and that will be game. Wow. So, that is the series tied up here. White and Bly, 1 game apiece in this best of 3. Winner moves on to the semi-finals to play against Solo in a best of 3 ZvZ. So we're going to head into game 3 here in just a couple of moments' time between Bly and White. Again, 1 game apiece, guys, and we'll get ready to go into our 3rd game in this series. Just ask for our invite. And jump into whatever game 3 will be. It's going to be Coda. Hashtag adopted Terran. Man. Terrans are... It's actually... I mean, I guess Terrans are a little bit rare. In fact, in the base trade qualifier, all the Terrans are pretty much extinct as well. Or the last Terran that remains is going to have to go through Targa if he wants to make it past the round of 8. Yeah, I guess Terrans are a little bit non-existent today. It's because all the good Terrans are flying over to WCS, right? Well, they've already been invited. That's the thing in these qualifiers for tournaments like, I guess not so much for base trade, because of course base trade don't have invites, but for HomeStoryCup, like the majority of good Terran players have already been, have probably already been invited to play at HomeStoryCup. So it's kind of yeah, it's kind of well, I say that only Xenocide and Bunny are Terran players in the HomeStoryCup so far. How many players have they invited? 13. They're going to have 32 players, right? So they're going to have 30. They've got 4 qualified. They've got 3 more through global and Korean qualifiers. That's 7. That's got 20 players. They've still got a lot of invites to go, though. They've got a lot of spaces to fill. I assume at least. I think they've got Swedish qualifier as well, so they've still got some spaces to fill. As we look to take I think we're taking a couple of minutes break because White needs a moment or 2 to get ready. So so yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. I thought we were going to be able to jump straight into this, but it's going to be a little bit of a delay. Just waiting for this to get set and ready to go. Alright guys, again we're just waiting. Okay, White's back, so in fact it wasn't as long as he said it was going to be, so we're pretty much set to go straight into this now, guys, and it's going to be game 3 of this quarter-final. Again, today we have 1 spot in the HomeStoryCup 11 on the line. Again, tomorrow there'll be another spot from the HomeStoryCup on the line, and we have another global qualifier, and then on Friday it's the Korean qualifier, which of course it's not a paid trip, so I don't think there's very many sign-ups just yet, but so I think the Dead Pixel players have signed up, a couple of other guys too. I'm sure there'll still be some good games there nonetheless, as we jump into game 3 of this best of 3 ZvZ Coda our map. In the top left of the map, from Acer, it's the red Zerg player, it's Bly. And down to the bottom right, we do have our pink Zerg player, who's actually called White. I don't actually know what team this is. Vin EU. They have a pretty cool logo. But actually, I've honestly never heard of them in my life, so both players just starting their Overlord on 10 will be Extractor tricking their way up to that 11 supply in a couple of moments' time. Back to mining there for that drone, so nothing, again, nothing surprising right now. Between between these two. We're just going to wait to see. I mean, there's not going to be any early pulls at this point, so we could see a 14-14 from one player, potentially. But the gas would start to be taken now, and the longer this goes on, the more it looks like this is just going to be very standard stuff here, as we look to basically heading towards a scenario where both players are going to drop either their pool or their hatchery in a few moments' time. Neither's moving their drone towards the low ground, though, as, ooh, that was a little bit of a misclick. As, there we go, White actually does begin to move his drone towards the low ground, so we're going to have exactly the same scenario as that last game, where it's going to be the hatch first for White against the pool first for Bly. So, same opening as the last game. Again, very minimal difference early on here. Let's see if White's going to grab that gas in the before the pool once again, because if he does, it's definitely going to open up the options for him to, you know, be aggressive like he was in that last game. It looks as though he's just saving straight up for the pool, so he's going to skip his gas for a little while here, and we'll see when that extractor is taken for him. And for Bly, who currently just playing gases as well with that pool into his hatchery onto the low ground, and there is the gas on the way for White. So still quite a fast gas from Zerg player down to the bottom side of the map, and we'll see what Bly wants to play here on Coda. I'd be surprised, in fact there's an extra, I was going to say I'd be surprised if he didn't play with gas. I feel as though Bly is a player who will pretty much always open gas in ZvZ. He's, I don't really feel like he's much of a gasless player. It doesn't really fit his style. A style which is based a lot on aggression a lot of the time, and, you know, tries to get a lot done. With speed lanes is kind of, you know, he plays this aggressive style, and, you know, speed openings kind of lend themselves quite naturally into that, so it's not every day you'd see Bly opening gas this year. He knows it's a hatch first, so once again he can sneak into the main base and just confirm what his opponent's got going on. Queen's only just starting for White, so again it's going to be a little while before this Overlord could be hunted down, and on the other side of the map it's completely different. He sees that this hatchery is later, so he knows it's a pull first, and he cannot head into that main base to get that information which he needs. Drone popping out of the hatchery, going to go down to the low ground. Both players have 2 queens on the way at this point of the game, and a couple of lings on the way out for White. So again, these are very important for him, because again, he wants to move across the map and confirm what his opponent is up to. Well, that being said, he only leads with 1 single Zergling, which is quite interesting. So, just leading with 1 Zergling right now, instead of the 2. I'd be surprised if the Zergling really got in and did any damage. I mean, if we think about it, oh, well, I guess there's no queen at the natural just yet. Oh no, that's because there's a queen in the middle of the map chasing away Overlords. So yeah, that Zergling gets taken down. He doesn't really get any information at all here. And he makes a couple more lings. Both players with the Bane nests on the way. Not really kind of giving up any gas mining to delay that or anything. So going straight into Bane nests, and we'll see if either of these guys wants to turn on the switch for aggression and see whether they want to start moving across the map, start chasing down units left, right, centre. We do see quite a few lings on the way for Bly. I mean, I say quite a few, I mean about 10 to 12. But I mean, significantly more than we're seeing out of White right now, as, again, Bly just moving around with this queen, continuing to try and see what's going on. A few more lings coming in for Bly, and just defensive baners really for White at this point. So, really looking as though he isn't going to commit too much to anything at all. And how many lings do you have out there in total for Bly? Actually just 10, so I actually thought it was a lot more. But no, just 10 lings, so it's not really going to be aggressive at all. And 1 Bane intros, 2 lings, which isn't really ideal. Bly actually getting the better end of this. I mean, 2 lings, or well, 4 lings altogether, or 2 lings for a complete scout and a Baneling is pretty decent. He's actually going to lose maybe 1 more link here, but still, it's nice information for him. He knows exactly what's going on, and immediately back at home, he just drops a lair. A lot of links on the way for White, so he's a little bit afraid of his opponent actually being aggressive right now. So he's going to start droning behind this, but of course Bly, now it'll be up to him to make enough units to make sure he's just not going to die to this kind of sudden rush of lings. So, I mean, obviously he's going to know they're coming, he's buying time as well, running around in circles, so he shouldn't die. He's got 10 more lings on the way. And the thing is, though, if White can sneak into that main base, get some confirmation that a lair's on the way, might give him a little bit of an idea about what he's up against, what he might have to start doing. Some Banelings start morphing for Bly, so again, this is still nice from White. Morphing in Banelings when Bly is going to want to be going into Mutalisks in the next few moments is nice, because it wastes a lot of gas for Bly, and it means that he's going to, you know, the more gas he spends on Banelings, the less Mutalisks there'll be initially. And as Bly just sends his workers into the gas here, and again, that lair's about it. Well, it did just finish up, and so he's going to be able to pop down on Spire in a few moments' time. It's not going to be roaches or anything. There's no Roachron, there's no Evo Chamber, there's nothing to make use of this lair, so it's just going to be that Spire dropping down here in a few moments. And ooh, White nearly getting into a little bit of trouble for himself there. Did he just lose all of his lings to random Baneling in the centre? What on earth just happened? I think he just lost all of his lings, like one random Baneling in the centre of the map. Oh my god, he just lost so much. And Bly already has Banelings ready to move forward, so it's 2 for 2. Another couple of Banes finish up here though for White, and so he's not going to be able to... Well, Bly's not really going to be able to achieve too much more here, I don't think. As Banelings being chased here just around. A little Zerglings here and there as well. Bly still just going to try and pressure onto this third base, which his opponent did commit to a little bit sooner than he did. Bly's actually going to clean up the lings here of White, and White's actually maybe going to be a little bit of trouble. I guess there's not that much left for Bly in the end though, so yeah, okay, Bly's just going to escape over to the left hand side. We'll actually maybe turn back, maybe look to try and get something done here. Nah, there's not really much for him to do though, is there? So nothing really crazy going on at this point. Both players just heading in towards their spires, and while White's spire is a little bit late, the only real disadvantage that's going to give him is that it's going to make it a little bit harder for him to... Well, it's going to make him a little bit slower in terms of the upgrades. They're both going to have a similar amount of meters. In fact, Bly's going to have a few less because he's warping in some very aggressive Banelings to the left-hand side here. And it looks as though he wants to try and hit a... I'm not really sure what he wants to try and hit. Because this was a complete waste, and he's done absolutely nothing with these so far. So, yeah, that was a little bit strange. He's going to try and flood through into the natural Lings. Now, I guess what he did do is delay the Banelings which were morphing in. And so White actually doesn't have any Banelings right now. He actually doesn't have any Zerglings either, really. As his Spire's not ready yet either. Nice hold position on these drones, really kind of messing up with the Ling AI here. As Lings are they going to try and get that Spire? It looks as though they might try to. Doesn't look as though he's going to be too successful though. Baneling hit does clean up a lot of this. And White is going to be able to clean this up, and he actually takes a little bit of a supply lead here, and as he spends his money on mutas, he's actually going to take a bit of a muta lead too. Although he hasn't started his +1 carapace yet, which is going to be a little bit scary. It means his mutas are going to be a little bit behind in his upgrades, and any trade which he does take is going to put him a little bit behind. These mutas clean up a couple of Banelings in the centre of the map, and these Lings just well, doing a little something here and there. White running by once again, in towards the third base, trying to do whatever he can here. And Bly is going to actually clean up a lot of this with these Mutalisks now. Of course, Muta's on the way for White as well. And how many do you have altogether? It's actually a meter lead for White, but again, that +1 carapace upgrade is pretty far behind, which is pretty significant. And whoa, Muta's into towards the main base here. White's going to take some pretty serious damage, and this is not good for him. Whereas Muta's, he's going to start trying to get into a position to actually cut off the Mutas of Bly retreating. Of course, Bly can just come around the south side now, though. And he's killed off so many Mutas. And of course, actually, Bly's going to be happy to take a fight because he does have that +1 carapace, which his opponent does not. And it's going to make such a big difference in this engagement. It's going to make this a fairly even trade, despite White having closer reinforcements and a few more Mutas. And actually, as Bly gets a few reinforcements in, he's actually not going to continue to fight. He's going to just turn away. But this was a very successful couple of moments for Bly, I have to say, because I mean, we have. You know, so many workers going down there. That's something White going to just have to rebuild right now. And as lava, on money, he would much rather spend on Zerglings underneath to kind of support these Mutalisks, or even just more Mutalisks on their own. And here's True Queen going to come in and help out with the transfuse here. What's the Muta count out now? 16 to 16. Now 18 to 16. It's still fairly even though, and White's going to turn around, but in even Muta fights, he's not going to take the advantage without that upgrade lead. And so he's just going to have to back away from this, but that was a big mistake. Lost a couple of Mutas for no real reason. As Bly continues in towards the main base here, and of course if White loses a Mutalisk fight, he's going to start losing everything everywhere because he doesn't have any Spore Cores set up. He's going to hit a supply block now from that Overlord snipe, and this is not looking good for him at all. Bly's going to once again take this engagement. He's going to be happy to fight once more because again he has this +1 upgrade advantage, and it's going to make a difference in the skies. He tries to run by with the Zerglings as well. Now he turns around, but he still holds like a 3 Mutalisk lead. Of course, reinforcement distance is having an effect on this, and he has to be very careful about it as he's got these 3 extra Mutas. Yeah, they are. I mean, they're only halfway across the map, so they're not here just yet. But Bly really controlling the game right now. He's kind of saying, right, we're going here, we're fighting there. And he runs into the third base now, trying to kill off the Queen as he goes in towards the main base as well. So his opponent kind of dragged all over the place once more, losing workers left and right. As White is going to try and cut off his exit path. I think Bly's just about going to be able to squeeze up this right-hand side. As, is he actually going to kill both spine coils over here? It looks as though he actually is. So this has been a very effective run by Bly. He's taken down not just the queen, but 2 spine coils on top of that, maybe even a couple of drones. Used the opportunity to kind of get into a grid position with his Mutalisks as well. Now as these Mutalisks come southbound for Bly, he's going to be able to maybe get into something. There's actually a overlord here which White has no idea about, which he probably could have killed off if he did know. The Spore are not going to go down time as well. White's going to force the engagement again. He comes in from the north side to trap Bly away from kind of escaping out of this. Bly has lings in towards the third base at the same time of this, though. They just jump over there for a moment. You can see that White is losing out a lot. He doesn't have anything on the ground to really deal with this. Back over to the Mutalisk fight, though. How is this going? Well, White is actually starting to take a bit of an advantage in that. But I think Bly is just going to slowly win this out because he's going to take down the third base, and losing the third base is just going to cut your Mutalisk production by so much anyway. Bly actually lost a lot of Mutas in that engagement, 9 to 15 now, but he can just make so many more than his opponent, and that's the real difference here. That third base now down, and Bly, all he has to do is wait for a few reinforcing Mutas, and he's going to be back up in level pegging. And, well, White's trying to hunt down these Mutas before they group up with everything, but Queen underneath as well with transfuses. It's not going to end well. He's got lings. He might just have to go for one more attack, and, well, in fact, there's too many segments. TTGG, good luck and rest. And White taps out.